So we're going to be a little more subdued today in regards to background music, because it has been a little bit overwhelming on my voice, I think. And I could fix that. I'm not going to. Too late now, anyways. But welcome back. We are playing Trackmania, and we are going through track number 4 of the Fall 2020 series. And on top of that, this is also going to be a more unique stream because, well, there's a few topics to talk about, actually. And I don't know whether to save it for Trackmania or to wait until we get our author medal here. Hopefully we get one. And then talk about it again when we get to Crash. No steering. Okay. Get my steering back here. I think this is the first season I actually get to play that actually has the no steering challenge to it. That's silver. Told you. I didn't even have to look at the time, so I just knew that was going to be silver. I was taking my time, playing very cautious on those turns. Wow, there's just no give on that one. Alright, so I have to figure out how to make that turn work. I think it's going to be a little bit of the same from track number 2, where I'm going to have to lose a bit of speed at the beginning here in order to make this turn work. We'll see. Wow, I'm telling you, this car does not like to turn, dude. I got a very wide turn and it's still like, nope, not turning. I refuse. It's like, you really have to force it. Okay, I see a little shortcut there. In regards to the reactor. Oh, that's so clean. That may be gold. Yep. Top 1,000 so far. See, the ideal way to take that turn would be from the outside in, but the car just doesn't have the grip required to actually take that turn outside in, also because of how like the turn is laid out. So it's a bit weird in that regard. It's a very strange turn. Like, it's a turn that you feel like you should floor it, but the game says no. You cannot floor it. Sorry, SpongeBob. Don't work this time around. What else? But yeah, we have 2 topics for tonight to talk about. Topic number 1 is going to be about Cyberpunk 2077, and that it is nearing its release date. And nearing the release, we were also told, well, it was also mentioned that they are going into a crunch to finish the game in time. And so that will be subject number 1. And then subject number 2, if I recall, it's the one I want to talk about. It's a subject about Epic versus Apple, and how Epic probably won't win that fight, even if I want them to. Even if I wanted them to. So, yeah, like I said, we got a bit to go through today in regards to that kind of stuff. I do know that I can talk better about it on Trackmania than I can on Crash. So I'll cover the Cyberpunk story now, I guess. Cyberpunk 2077 is being developed by CD Projekt Red, if I could speak English. So yet again, that is CD Projekt Red. And on CD Projekt Red, they were doing whatever they could to avoid having to crunch to get the game out. However, it was also said early this year, really, that the crunch was not going to be unavoidable, that they would have to, especially towards the final bit of development. And, well, we are on the final bit of development, and the CEO is requiring that we that they are able to get the game pushed out on time, which would require crunch. Now, to cover what crunch is, oh, there's a nice shortcut there. Okay. To cover what crunch is in a nutshell, is working overtime pretty much every day for a handful of weeks, if not longer, in order to get a game out on time. And there's a lot of developers and there's a lot of companies and publishers that go towards doing that in order to get their games out on time. And now the thing is that there are two ways to look at it. And one way is that there shouldn't be any crunch at all, ever, for any reason. And the second way to look at things is that there should be crunch, but the developers should be rewarded for it. And so, if you are a hardworking individual who loves what you do, you probably wouldn't mind putting overtime in. Now, that being said, overtime and crunch are not exactly the same thing. Overtime is something that you do for like a day or two, usually, unless there's an event going on, and in which case you have to perform a lot more overtime than usual. Crunch is like, no, it's something you gotta do for the next few weeks in order to get the game out. And I know that overworking can lead to mental issues, and it can make you not make the right decisions. It can lead to sloppy work, etc, etc, etc. So yes, definitely, if you are not mentally capable of the crunch, if you're not able to perform to that degree, then you probably should not work for a development team that will require crunch. But at the same time, to expect the entire industry to avoid crunch and treat it like taboo is also something that is not doable in my belief, in my thought process. The reason being is because, again, crunch is necessary. It's not something that anyone would enjoy, but you have to realize like the reason why it takes forever to get these games out. And one of the reasons why is because they're working on a humane schedule for the most part. And so, if you think about the time it takes for a development team to create a AAA game, it takes at least 2 years, and if not longer, 2 to 5 years tends to be this typical window for the development time. And you have to realize that for those 2 years, the company is bleeding money. And sure, they may have other games on the market, they may have their own store, their own shop, they may have some contracts, whatever, some contract work, some smaller gigs to keep the lights on. But for the most part, the company's bleeding money for a year or 2 or 3, however long it takes until the game comes out. And one way to stop that bleeding is by getting investors to invest in your game. And, well, if you have nothing to show for, if you don't have any product to show for within the first 6 months to a year, then you don't get investor money, and things can get pretty tight on that. Now, of course, if you're looking at EA, Activision, Blizzard, all these large companies that make millions of dollars, including CD Projekt Red, if I could say the word right for once. You know, say, well, they can still take a beating to it. You know, they can still throw more money at it, and like, sure, they can, but it won't look good financially. And secondly, all this stuff is budgeted, so like, they can't necessarily go over budget unless they have a very specific reason to do so that's advantageous to the final project. I know people are going to say, well, if people perform better, you know, in regular hours and not in the crunch, then that would provide a better end product. But that's not quite how it works. It's a very difficult thing to say or to talk about because there's so many moving parts in a development process of a game. And in regards to that, let me actually just say something. I have to test something real quick. You may hear me twice. We'll see. And in regards to that... Okay, good. That's all I needed to see, that we were actually getting sound out of this game. And out of my voice. So like I said, there's a lot of moving parts. But in regards to voice acting, that's typically contracted. In regards to dialogue, that's typically done before the game is completed. I would assume. Like, a lot of the big stuff that has to be done in the game would be your graphics, your textures. I mean, your voice lines to some degree, your lip sync, your cutscenes, that kind of stuff. And yeah, you can say, well, under crunch, they may not give off as great a product, but a lot of this product that's there is already built into the game, you can kind of say. And that a lot of the labor that's left in the game is just textures, foliage, artwork, and things of that nature that's already drawn out, it's already mocked up. They probably already have a version of it on a computer somewhere, and they just have to translate it to get it into the game. And I'm not trying to simplify the process of game development because a lot of it's magic to me. But I do know a decent amount to say this, that, and the other. And so, yeah, it takes a while for a game to be developed. Yes, it takes a lot of man hours and a lot of time to get that product out there. But at the same time, it's not necessarily something that can't be done under crunch. And it sucks, but, you know, I think some of the outrage is a little exaggerated, and some of it is deserved. It does depend on the situation, and depends on each individual person, each individual developer. And if you're someone who's not looking forward to it, if you're like, no one's looking forward to crunch or overtime, ever, usually. But you have to be looking forward to the challenge, and you have to realize that what you're doing is a dedicated amount of time in order to get a product out to market. And now you have a set deadline, and you have to do everything you can to reach each deadline, each milestone, have something to show in meetings, have something playable, so on and so on and so on. And I know people are going to say that's a bad thing. Games are art, they should not be messed with by time and budget and yada yada. But at the same time, games are always, to a point, a product that is doomed to be obsolete. Even if they use cell shading, even if they have good gameplay and mechanics and so forth, it's a product that's doomed to be obsolete, by the next 2 or 3 years. It's not really a product that you're going to get a whole lot of time out of in regards to keeping it on the shelves for like 5, 10, 20 years or so, and have it be on the shelves for the same price and that kind of stuff. It is something that people buy once, and they may buy a second or a third time for a console, and then that's it. And then the rest, you have to decide whether you want to develop more stuff afterwards, as in DLC, whether or not you're going to charge your people, your customers, for that extra money, for the extra bit of content. Oh, okay. Or if or if you want to give it off for free, and then just have people buy the game at whatever discounted base price the game would have been by that time. Now, does this mean that the game industry is struggling in regards to making money? No. every AAA game makes millions and millions of dollars, and that's to be expected. And I know there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of the money goes away relatively quickly. But it's not like they're making the money and then they're living paycheck to paycheck. They're making the money and they're basically investing years of their time to make a product to live off of it for more or less the same amount of time. If not longer, if possible. It's just something that's annoying to talk about. I mean, I understand people wanting to talk for developers and saying, oh, it's not fair, it's not fair. But at the same time, it's like, you're making something that has the same budget as, if not a slightly lower budget than a movie and a film. And your turn time is around the same amount of time as that. And then everything you're working with is in live action, so you have to develop every little bit of it. You have to go through countless sound files of dialogue to find out which cut the director wants to take. And then you have to hope that you don't have to retake anything else. You have to hope that there's nothing in the word terms of the dialogue or the story that would require any retakes to get the verbiage right. It's just a lot of moving parts, like I said. And to not expect overtime or a crunch to some degree in working like that is outright ridiculous. Unless you're working for a smaller team that has plenty of time to develop and they don't have such a high, they can work with the tools that they have, and when it comes out, it comes out. Fine. But you're not going to see EA, Activision, Blizzard, or any other company fold to that because it doesn't make them look good. And you have to go with the people that are financing your endeavors. So if that means having to crunch out some extra hours for a month or two, you're going to have to crunch out some extra hours. And like I said, you're getting for the most part, you're getting compensated for it. That's where the gray area is. It's, do these companies, or are these companies compensating for that overtime? I mean, by law, legally, they would, at least in the United States. They would have to pay overtime. But then there also may be some additional financial gains, if you want to call it that, when the product is released. That's a no-go. When the product is actually released, and you're getting a bonus from it. And now, I think it was Activision that, either Activision or EA, but I think it was Activision, where the CEO, or maybe even Blizzard, I can't quite remember. Anyways, one of those CEOs pocketed a ton of millions of dollars as a bonus. And then they don't report anything about the actual developers getting any bonus from it. Not to say they did it, but that would also be something that should be reported. It should be something that is mentioned in articles and so on and so on. And I'm not sure why that gets ignored, because that, for me, that's the primary issue. If your developers aren't getting compensated and properly for their work, then yeah, we have a problem, because that does delve into legal matters, and you should never do that. In regards to the mental state of each individual, that is a case-by-case basis of each individual. And you can't just have a sweeping law or ground rule that you're never going to crunch because you're going to have 5 or 10 people, 5 or 10 developers that are not cut out for that kind of work. And I don't want to crush anyone's dreams, especially a dream of being a developer and creating your own games. But you have to realize that there's going to be a lot of time and dedication you got to put into that project. And unless you're just willing to go full on indie and make games on your own pace, good luck to you. There's a reason why indie games don't come out all that often. And there's a reason why they're a lot shorter than AAA games. They don't look as good as AAA games. And it's not that every game needs to look as good as a AAA game. or it needs to be as long or play as well as one. But in order to get a polished AAA product, you have to put in the kind of time to make your product a polished AAA product. The time, the budget, so on and so forth. So I mean, that's all I can really say about it. I'm just going to go in circles talking about it. But yeah, if you're not cut out for it, you're not cut out for it. And it's just like any other job. You know, if you want to go into nursing and all of that, well, a lot of nurse hours require 12 hours a day. And you have to work about 4 days at the very least. And you still get your 40 hours a week, but you're doing it 12 hours at a time. And I know that doesn't sound inhumane or anything, because people are still getting their days off. But it's still not something that people are going to be used to. And there's going to be people who are not going to be mentally capable of having 12-hour shifts. So I mean, we can keep going down this argument, and like how far down do we have to go to compensate for every individual person? And that's why I'm saying it has to be more of a case-on-case basis, because you can't say, okay, you can work 8 hours a week, but if you're not mentally capable of doing it for 8 hours a week, then I guess you can work for 4. And then you can work for 4 hours whenever you want, however you like. That's part-time. So, I mean, it's just something that you have to get ready for. And I know, like, your supervisors, managers, they may promise, hey, we're not going to crunch, we're not going to go overtime. But things happen. Things happen. People don't get on schedule. Someone slacks off early on in the project for one reason or another. Maybe they have something in their personal life they have to take care of, and things don't get done, and they don't get done on time. And I know that there's a bit of a somewhat unrealistic expectation from investors, but that's why you keep coming up with your presentations with your demos and showing off your progress. Because so long as you can show progress and you can comfort your investors and your buyers, your customers, then yeah, you can have the game run, being developed for as long as you want. But there's going to be a point where the investors are going to say, okay, well, we're not going to send you any more money until the game's released. And then what? So, and like, again, with these large publishers, EA, Activision, say, oh, well, they have hundreds of millions of dollars they can put into the game. Yeah, they can. But their game's marketed or budgeted for a certain amount of money. And it never looks good to budget your game for one price and then have it go over budget. It never looks good. And like I said, it can result into a better end product. It very well can. It probably has in the past. But it's just not something that looks good financially. So I think I'm done with that topic. I'm just going to keep going in circles. That's why I need a co-captain to keep me on the path of not running around chasing my tail. But that's fine. That's also why I write things down before I do a live stream or something. Well, not a live stream, but before I do a video, because this is typically what happens. What else? So secondly, in regards to Epic and Apple, let's go ahead and talk about that subject. So Epic Games was trying to get around the monetization, the way that Apple monetizes their games in regards to microtransactions. So on any app that's on an Apple device, any microtransaction you make on an app, 30% of that goes to Apple, as well as the base price of the game itself when you buy it on the store. Now, 30% is a bit steep, I feel, for nowadays, but it's not impossible. And there are many games out there, many mobile apps out there that are perfectly fine and are making plenty of money, even with that 30% cut that Apple takes. Now, Epic Games is not a fan of the 30%. They had even asked Apple if they were willing to make a deal for their Fortnite game. Apple refused, and so this is the way Epic retaliates by trying to sue. Not trying to sue, but getting around that fact and having the money go straight to Epic instead of through Apple, so Apple does not receive the 30% cut. Apple, of course, has to respond by closing the game, removing it from the App Store. And then Epic then sues Apple for it. So I think we know that much. Now, in regards to the lawsuit and who would win and who would not, Apple more likely than not will win. I want Epic to win just because I want to see that development price go from 30% to 15 or 12, but I doubt that's going to happen. And the only way that there's going to be actual competition to an extent in that market would be as if Google Play lowers their development from 30% to 20 or 10 or whatever, because there's too many people. There's millions of phones out there that are running on Apple. There's millions of phones out there that are running Google and Android. So even on a cut like that, you don't have to worry too much about the price of your game. It's still going to sell, and it's going to sell them in who knows how many people, and you're going to make money off of it for the most part, depending on how on what your budget looks like. But I agree with Epic that Apple's price, Apple's take should be lower. But at the same time, it's just not going to happen with this lawsuit. I don't see it happening. Now, the way Epic would have to fight this is by saying, well, like, the thing is that the way that I think of it now, I can't even remember the counter argument, because it almost makes the counter argument mute. Essentially, Epic is saying that Apple has a monopoly on their hands because they are the only app store on an Apple device. Yeah, there's only one app store, and you can't go to any other app store without breaking terms of service. Okay. But the thing is, that doesn't really matter, and it's not quite a monopoly, because the way that they're going to look at it is that, okay, so Apple has a monopoly, right? Well, is Apple the only company making cell phones? No. Google's making cell phones. Android's making cell phones. Motorola's making cell phones. Right? So Epic has to make it look like a small scale thing that you can only buy from the Apple Store and nowhere else. But it's just not true. I mean, it's true in the sense that in any iDevice, any iPad or iPhone, you can't buy from anywhere else. But then to say that, well, you can still get it on other phones or other tablets, that's what people are going to see. And then the thing is that if Apple gets thrown under this and they somehow win this, that also opens up ground for your consoles. So your Nintendo Switch, for example, only has the Nintendo Store, right? Well, what if Xbox wants to open up an Xbox Store, or EA wants to open up an EA Store on the console? What could Nintendo do to stop that from happening if Epic wins this lawsuit? And then the same thing with the PlayStation, same thing with the Xbox. Like, you don't really think about it, but yeah, when you buy a console, you only have one shop to buy your games at least digitally. But no one complains about that. And that's why we have PC. Because PC, you have Steam, you have Epic Game Store, you have GOG, and you have a number of other websites like Fanatical. But when you're on a console, it's like everything that's being developed has to be developed for that console. So why should that be any different to an iPad or an iPhone? Why couldn't an iPad or an iPhone be considered a console at that point? So again, even if Epic wins and then there's a counter argument, that's made, exception made to consoles, then what if Apple brands their stuff as consoles and marks their stuff as consoles? Like, this is why the loopholes are there, and this is why things like this simply don't work. Arguments like this simply don't work, because there's always going to be another way to, I don't want to say get around the system, but to make it so like nothing ever happened. Everything's still going to be the same. Nothing's going to change. And either Epic decides to play ball or leave. And if they leave, then they have to make their own phones, essentially, their own phones and tablets. So yeah, what Epic has is just not enough to say, yeah, they'll win. There's just not enough evidence there. Because the other thing Apple's gonna, the main thing Apple's gonna say is that it's for the security of their devices, that everything gets published and secured through their app store and no third-party stores. And again, like, where do you say stop and where do you say go? So I really don't think Epic has a place to stand in winning this fight. I would love to see them win it to some degree, but it's just not going to happen. I don't see it happening. I want it to happen. I don't know if it will or not. But in my mind, I don't see it happening. And this is after like months of thinking about it. Because I used to think, yeah, Epic has a right point, because you can't buy from any other app store on an iPhone. But the thing is that you can't treat the iPhone like an iPhone, like it's the only thing out there. You have to treat an iPhone like a cell phone. You have to treat an iPad like a tablet. And you can't say that there's only one operating system that these devices run on, because that's not true. And so if there are alternatives, then Apple doesn't have a monopoly. So you see, the better way that Epic could get around this, quote unquote get around this, is to put their game back on Google Play and never put it back on an Apple's device. And just have it available only on Android. Now, all of your Fortnite players, your mobile Fortnite players, they're going to have to ditch their iPads and their iPhones, and they're going to have to buy an Android device. And so, if I were Epic, I would get in contact with Google or Android, whoever. I would say we're dropping whatever we were going to file you, whatever lawsuit we were going to file you under. And we're going to ask for a partnership. We're going to give you however many millions of dollars to have our game be back on your devices. And we want, the cut to be a little less than 30%, whatever they're able to get it down to. And for like a short period amount of time, like let's say 6 months, that Epic is given, say, 5% of any sale of Android hardware. Any device that is running Android that gets sold, that's brand new, that gets sold for the next 6 months, Epic gets like 5% from each sale, something like that. Because essentially, like I said, you're going to make a partnership there so that the only mobile devices that can run Fortnite, aside from like a laptop or like a high-powered, Razer or whatever running on Linux, would be a Google device, would be an Android device. And that would hit Apple, I would think, harder than it would hit anything than this lawsuit would. So, again, if I were Epic, that's what I would. If I were an advisor to Epic, that's what I would say. That's the game plan I would give. I would say drop your lawsuit to Google ASAP and make a deal with them. Whatever millions they want, give it to them, and then ask for this, this, and this, and this. And if they're willing to play ball, if they're willing to do it, then you get money back. You get your games back on mobile devices, and you get to poke stab at Apple by not allowing your game on their device. And I know they may shy away from that a little bit because it's the exact opposite of what they're trying to go for, where any game should be able to be on any product. Which, at the time, yeah, it was possible. It was not possible now because of the lawsuit he did. And I don't see Apple forgiving Epic anytime soon because of that. And again, I would not recommend Epic to give Apple any money. I would just say screw it. That bridge is burned and buried. Let's try rebuild our relationship with Android and work from there. So that's all I have to say about that topic. So now I'm out of time, and I think I should focus a little more on getting author medal on this stupid track. Probably. That's not bad though. We got 2 topics out in a little less than 40 minutes, so about 20 minutes per topic. So you can kind of see, like, in regards to making videos and things like that, like these 2 topics I would make a separate video on. But because I'm live streaming now, I can actually just talk about it here. And then not just talk about it here, but also just say what I want to and think about it through while talking. Whereas if I were to make a video of it, it would be 10-15 minutes long, so about 5 to 10 minutes shorter than what's going to be here per topic. Oh, that sucks. And it's going to be cleaner. It's going to be easier to talk about, because I'm going to have everything written down. But here I'm just spitballing. I'm just trying to fill up as much time as possible with my voice to not let any dead air. And I think it's working. This turn is killing me, by the way. Like, I'm getting better at it, and it's not the turn that I'm messing up on, to be honest. It's the exit of the turn, and then it's this little shortcut I have to take here. That last little shortcut, I keep getting too much momentum to actually hold on to the dirt track. Ooh. I almost had something there. Let me check on some stuff. Hold on. Another issue. When making it so it's only on Google, make it a definite monopoly. To an extent, you can say that, but then Epic can back it off and say, well, it's on PC as well. And so if you have a PC, you can still play the game. You just can't play it on an Apple device. And then the thing is that that's a lot safer of an argument, because when you look at, well, the easy and obvious answer would be like, look at PlayStation or Xbox exclusives, right? Your Last of Us, and I can't remember what the other game is. Your Last of Us, your Jak and Daxter's, your Ratchet and Clanks. They're stuck on PlayStation because they're being developed by a company that has a contract to work specifically for Sony. So their games aren't available anywhere else. And then the same thing is that Epic can't claim that, but there could also be like a coding barrier where, like, well, I'm sorry, we just can't code the game for your console. Like, think of all the games that didn't come to the Wii or the Wii U, or a lot of games that still are not available on the Switch because of hardware issues or limitations, or because of there being just so much work that would have to be put in to make the game possible on that device that there's just no monetary value to be gained there. to actually port it over. So I mean, I understand that argument, but that's why I would say to do that, because you can't get backlash for it other than by PR. It's like, well, you're doing the very thing that you said you didn't want to do. But it's too, like I said, it's just too late. You can't rebuild your relationship, your business relationship with Apple anymore, unless you're willing to cash out. And I don't know how Google or Android is taking this, but I would say that they probably have a better chance of rebuilding their business with Google than they do with Apple. And like, it's also an argument because Apple banned Epic from the platform. So the only way they can get in trouble would be if Apple lifts the ban, and the product could then still be available on Apple. But there's just no law there that, I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I can't say anything like that. Don't take my, like, I'm just giving off advice, what I think would work. But you can't claim that a game is a monopoly if it's only available on the one device. You know, it's a lot stronger of an argument the other way around, where there's only one app store that anyone can buy their products from, because that can mean that, well, you can't get the game at a cheaper price, and what's there is there, what's done is done. Yeah, I see that, and to an extent, it is a monopoly. But it's only a monopoly in regards to Apple devices. That restraint isn't technically the same on a Google device, on an Android device. Uh-oh, I jumped over. Let me check. Okay, my phone's not catching up with this. I don't, man, if I think they did, if they did that, Epic might take a bigger hit by doing that, because now Epic seems to be the one to be the problem, since it looks like, well, Apple, you won't cave, so sucks to be y'all. Oh, did Epic get banned? Because in that case, I withdraw my previous comment. I must have missed that part. Yeah, Epic got banned, and Apple was threatening, I don't know if they did it or not, but they were threatening it to the point where any game on the Apple Store that was developed using the Unreal Engine, which is a product of Epic's, would be banned as well, by virtue of the game being under or being built with the same game engine. So like, yeah, like Apple doesn't play around with something like that. I know Google removed the game from their stores as well, which is why Epic gave Google the lawsuit as well. But I think that was a lot more reactionary than it was like, we care, because they never came up with a follow-up statement. They almost quietly just removed the game and didn't say anything else about it. That's why I feel Epic has a better shot of teaming up with Google than with Apple. Fortnite's Apple spoof makes a lot more sense now. Yeah. I'm sorry I'm on pause here, but I kind of have to right now. My phone is not being cooperative, so I'm not actually seeing chat on my phone. So I'm trying to do a small refresh on that. But yeah, that spoof, so like in the original context, okay, my phone is basically gave up tonight, I guess. Let me see. Yeah, my phone gave up. Okay. Thank you, phone, for being uncooperative. There was a ruling. Talk to me. Because I actually haven't heard of anything. No one has talked about it. According to the article. This is interesting stuff. We got news breaks here. Epic Judge permanently restrains Apple from blocking Unreal Engine, but won't force Fortnite. Okay. So that makes sense. That makes sense, and that's a lot more reasonable. Because it would suck to develop a mobile game on an Unreal Engine and then have it be taken away from you or from the market because of something the parent company did that you had nothing to do with. Yeah, Unreal is fine, but Fortnite has to get over itself, yeah. Which may or may not happen. Because I'm pretty sure they're still, like, trying to get things sorted from there, but I could be wrong. I'm really struggling on this track because of all the yammering. Let me see. But yeah, like I said, it's a somewhat gray area, but the more I thought about it, the less it made sense in that regard. Because I was all on the Epic train. It's like, yeah, Epic's going to win this, and Apple's going to have to think twice about what they do. But then, like, listening to other people talk about it and saying, well, you know, the thing that got me is that Apple isn't the only phone in town. Apple isn't the only tablet in town. And so that basically makes any argument Epic Games makes virtually mute. Like, they can say whatever they want about the 30% being too high, but that's Apple's decision. You know, it's the same thing with Steam. We'll do some digging. Okay. It's the same thing with Steam, because Steam still charges 30%. Hopefully my chat is in sync now on my phone, we'll see. And Steam is still charging 30% per game, per sale. So everything that Epic's been doing to try and quote unquote force to the point I said earlier. Yeah, go ahead. Apple has said it will allow Fortnite back in the App Store once Epic removes the in-app payment tool. Yeah. Yeah, once Epic removes the tool that bypasses Apple entirely, then they'll let the game back in. Like, the CEO of the CEO of Epic makes a lot of great points. But, funny enough, there's a lot of gamers out there who are against his tactics. And it makes sense to a degree. But hey, like, you made Fortnite, you made Unreal Engine 3, you made Unreal Engine 4, which is even more popular. You're making so many royalties off of any game using your engine. You're making so much money out of Fortnite. It does make sense to use that money to grow your company. And to do things that are a little more consumer friendly. Even if it doesn't seem like it, which would include like buying out exclusives for a year. Minor applause to Apple. That's rather professional of them, not taking it personally. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Just that no one likes Apple. Like, Apple's great in regards to what they do. And um, like the reason what makes Apple great is also what makes them quote unquote bad, which is that if you want an iPad or an iPhone, it has to be made by Apple. Motorola cannot make an Apple device. Sony cannot make a Apple device. Dell cannot. Ain't no other company can make an Apple device other than Apple themselves. Compare that to Microsoft or Windows, where Microsoft barely builds computers. All they have is the Surface tablets, and they used to have a Windows Phone. I think that got discontinued. But any company that wants to make a Windows machine can do so. Any company that wants to make an Android machine can do so. But Apple's the only one that's like, nope, no one can touch our hardware except us. And that does cause limitations, because essentially any app that you make has to be available for at least the last 2 generations of devices. So it's great in regards to that it's uniform, but it's not great in regards to like how would I say that, advancing technology. Because yeah, they come out with great technology. It will last you 5-10 years, if not longer. You may not get updates after year 9, but it's still a great machine overall. Usually. No. And so I can see Epic wanting to challenge that, because Apple's the only company that does that. Tech company that does that, rather. But Apple's cleared because they're not the only ones that make hardware. They're the only ones that make Apple hardware, but not the only ones that make hardware, period. It's a real. I thought there's a shortcut there, but no. It's a cool thing to talk about, I guess I would say. It's interesting, at least to me, to see someone challenge Apple for the very thing that makes Apple Apple. Alright, I'm out my 2 subjects, so now on to rambling territory. Ow. What else? Let me actually put some radio silence on, and like this turn, I feel like I should take this turn a lot faster than what I do. I just haven't figured out how to. At least not consistently. No, turn. The turn radius of this thing, man, when it's up to speed, is like a freaking bus. It just does not want to. Unless you're on dirt, you'll happily turn on dirt. You just lose a ton of speed after it. Oh no, I rubbed 2 tires. I had a nice line going there. Turn! Nope. That was a little cleaner. I still had to stay off the gas for so long. Dive bar dive. Nope. Turn! Alright. Okay, we got a new time. It's still not author though. Top 300, and we're not top 310, I guess. Top 350. And we're not even at author. That's insane. There's very few tracks where you can get under top 500 and not have author. Very few tracks. Like the tracks that tend to do that are either ice tracks because no one wants to play them, or a track that has a shortcut that 80% of people haven't figured out. And there was a very tricky, I won't want to say tricky, a very concealed shortcut that was on one of the tracks from last season. One of the tracks from last season that had a crazy shortcut. It has a ramp to it. And the thing is, in this game, it has a ramp that you turbo boost into. And typically, you don't want to stay in the air forever because you lose a lot of time. But the ramp just so happens to also be facing the finish line. And there are no checkpoints in between the ramp and the finish line. Which means that if you're able to maneuver your car and hit the ramp just right, you jump over the last section of the entire track and then land in the finish line. Getting the angle necessary to do so, it was hard. Figuring out that that was what you had to do took way longer than way longer than what was necessary. I spent probably 3 hours on that track in total, like not just in one session, overall. Just going back to the track, lowering my time is like, I still don't have freaking author on this track. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And then it dawned on me the one time that I like goofed up on the jump, and it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna ride the accelerator and we're gonna just go into space for a bit. And that's when I noticed, like, oh wait, I can actually jump to the finish line. But there's not, alas, that's not the kind of shortcut we need here, or we have here. The shortcut we have here is just on the dirt itself. These first few tracks have been very simple. Very simple. There's almost like a running theme to these. Because in the last season, there wasn't really a running theme. A lot of these tracks played very differently from one to the other. In this one, it's like they're all very similar. They're short. These few tracks, they're short. They have a tricky turn that makes you lose a lot of speed. And then they have a shortcut. And that's about it. And you have to learn how to take the turn. The one tricky turn at the right spot. And then you have to learn a shortcut. And then you have to go however many dozens, if not hundreds of attempts before you get the actual speed you need to get through it and make a perfect lap. Like that. I was hoping to get an author medal after that. Thank you for proving me wrong, game. 28.096. I'm hoping author's at 28 flat. It probably isn't. Let me check chat. I mean, I feel Epic could get around by developing their own phone and OS. They already got the Epic Store. Yeah, that would really be the only thing they could do. Honestly, Minor Plus. Yeah, okay, I read that one. Yeah, Epic, if they make their own phone, yeah, they can do that. But in regards to financing, it would be a hell of a lot cheaper to say, hey, our game, if you want to play it on mobile, it's only on Android. no longer available on Apple. If you are able to make a partnership with Google doing that, you can cause harm to Apple, because people who would buy an iPad now has to buy an Android device. People who are in between phones now would probably consider buying Android. And if you're able to work in, a deal there where Epic gets a percentage of a small percentage, like a royalty type percentage per sale for the first 6 months to a year of hardware sales, you're going to make up all that money back that you just gave to Google. And Google's going to make all sorts of cash because they're doing absolutely nothing. Like, there's literally, it's a win-win scenario, and this is a way to get yourself back on the mobile market and dig yourself out of the hole without having to go into research and development, making your own phone, protecting it from any vulnerabilities that phones typically can get hacked and stuff like that. So it would be a lot safer in regards to just teaming up with Google. Because if anything happens hardware-wise, you have nothing to do with it. That's all on fault of Android and whatever updates they make. And believe me, if this does happen, if it ever does, Androids are going to be sought after, one, and they're going to be targeted a lot from hackers and hackers, what's the other, homebrew communities and things of that nature, jailbreakers, because you can jailbreak a Google device, it's just not called that. 28.45, so I guess I knocked off a little bit there, but not a full second. You need to drift on that wide turn. Yeah, problem. This car does not like drifting unless it's on dirt. That's the thing on this car. It just doesn't turn. I'm trying to figure out how to make it drift on concrete, unless you're talking about dirt, which I don't think you are. Like, there's more rubber, there's more grip on this car than... I'm trying to give a good example here. This car has the kind of grip that a vice grip does. The moment you hit 200 miles an hour, you are a bullet going straight for 200 miles an hour. It just refuses to turn. Nope. Okay. Like, I would, like, one theory would be entering in wide with little speed and then getting all that speed back on the middle and end of the turn. So something like this, but I don't get it. No, there's only one car. They all handle the same exact way. You can paint your car. You can make the car look like whatever you want in regards to paint. But it's this format, these tires, and that's it. Let's see if I can make something do out of this. It's close. I don't know why I did that. Nope, dang it. Hold on. drifting. Okay, what? You need to start to the left, drift on the straight right before the turn. Okay. It overpowered that. Hold on. Well, that's kind of a drift. Actually, try drifting there. Yeah, this car. Let me see if I can get a better angle on that turn. Hold on. That's a lot cleaner. That's a whole lot cleaner. And there's author. Hey, we did it. Took longer than it should have, but we did it. Alright. So, that turn, you can't force it. I mean, unless you were able to drift, and it is possible, but you can't force it. I basically just hit the brakes and hug the corner. Cool. Let's try again. Overshot it. Yep. What time? We're an hour. Okay. So yeah, we'll run a few victory laps and then we'll change over to crash. No. Oh, clip that shows 26.5? Yeah. Okay. And that's how you saw it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know drifting's possible on any surface in this game. I just don't know how to pull it off on actual racing surface without being too slow about it. $26.5 that's crazy. And I get more speed here. No, my tires. I rubbed the tires. 26.8. It's still impressive. Ow. Is it? Yeah, 20. Yeah, that's a whole second under me. That's an entire second under me. Wow. You get so much speed out of that. I just gotta get my tires to line up right. New meta here. I don't know. I was treating that first turn like it was the dead man's turn over there. I don't know why. I'm just giddy now because I want to learn this drift. The green curve that outlines the wall, yeah. Are you talking about on the right side of the wall or the left side? Just to be clear, because it is on both sides. Left side. Okay, so he really hugs the wall or the corner then. Okay. I thought he was taking it wide. But if he's hugging the corner, he's doing magic. Ow. I have a similar line though. Like I got in it down twice. I just exited really bad so I can go on with it. Start drifting as soon as your rear tire passes the curve. Okay. Yikes. If you look at his numbers, do you see his, like the numbers on the back of the car is actually the speed that the car is going? So I don't know if, I mean, it has to be decreasing, I just don't know when he's actually like laying off the speed. I took those turns bad. I'm assuming he's decreasing 3 or 4 the second he starts. Wow. He is like, he is holding on for dear life if he's doing that. That would be this. Okay, overshot it. And he's drifting when, like, you see there's a little divot there where the car goes up. So I'm assuming he's drifting on that part as the track is going up. I shouldn't go into dirt. I don't know why I'm doing that. So around here. That was very conservative. Okay. I think he's doing it right as the line goes up. Right as it's going up right here. Something like that. Did I get more speed? Not quite. Nope. Yeah, this guy's doing magic, dude. Ah, rip the tires. I'm actually gonna have to check that run, see what how he's taking that turn. Nope. Yeah, go ahead. I may even do some wizardry here and put it on screen. You wanna send me the link? I guess to my DM. Okay, he's right there. It's fine. Yeah, Streamlabs, yada yada yada. He's VIP. He can do whatever he wants. Let's see. So we're going to back a, let's do this. Let's do that. Actually, no, it has to have to be here. So yeah, hold on. Well, I don't want display capture. I want window capture, don't I? Yeah, I want window capture, right? Maybe not. Browser source does better. Yeah, okay. Let me remove this. Properties. Cancel. Go away. No, 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 no. Go away. Remove. Yes. Give me you. Give me you. Close that. Open that. Shut up. Here. Browser. Sure. Wait, what? Okay, let me... I'm messing up so much. Hold on. What do I do? Window capture. That's what I did last time. There we go. Widescreen it. Give us all of our pixels. Please. I beg of thee. We'll line it a little bit. Alright, let's see what this guy's done. Okay. Oh yeah. He breaks super early, okay. What does he do here? Okay. He eats a little bit of dirt to stay on the track. He does a shortcut. Grabs the traction. He does use that shortcut. I knew that was a shortcut. Okay. That's simple enough. There'll be behind the screen. Go away. Gotta wait for the game to catch up. Or by the game I mean stream. Trackmania, please. Show. There we go. Now it's on. Now it's showing. Okay. Boop, boop. I took that way wide. I don't know why I did. Yeah, so he's drifting way early. Okay, I don't. Weird, because I'm not getting that kind of speed he is to drift that quickly. There it is. Okay, okay. This is going to take a few tries. I at least want this drift to work. Nope, no speed there. Yeah, rip the tires. I'm so bad and inconsistent. It's almost like I have to do this 100 times in order to get a good, good run. I think, okay. Because he's entering, you know, like you said, he's entering left. He's just hugging here. I don't get it. I thought I did. I don't get it. I don't have that kind of speed. Like I hit brake and the car decides no drift. That's when it decides to drift. Yeah, I had it once. That's about as close as I'm getting to it now. Turn! Stupid car. I mean, sort of. It's not exactly. I didn't cut the dirt, so I'm gonna get thrown off. I hit the wall. So barely hit the wall. It shouldn't even have registered. And I like drifting too. This is just not the surface I'm used to drifting on. Especially in this game. Turn! Stupid car! You make me look bad. Nothing. We'll try a few more times and we'll drop it and hop over. Nope, it's too early. It's weird because like I'm not getting the drift that I know I did it once. I'm just not getting the drifts he's getting. Because like I hit the brakes and my car just wants to stop. It doesn't want to drift. That's what I'm saying. He's doing some wizardry there because it don't work. Not always. I'm struggling to find that pocket that he's getting on that. Like, I feel like I'm doing what he did. Obviously I'm not, because I would get the same result. I think I'm timing it just a little too early right now. And then if I time it late, that's what happens. See? Watch the clip again. I notice he seems to stop right about when he passes the tower wall. Okay. I'll watch it again. 1 second. 1 second. Oh no! Getting this car to turn, dude. Getting this car to turn at high speeds is not... no joy in it. It's still not a hard track. This is like min-max. Jeez, I braked way early. This is just min-maxing to get the best time possible, but... like, you don't need to do this to get author. This is just to get past that. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna watch it, but I'm gonna watch it off stream. So you're gonna hear it, just not gonna see it. So I just need to see like that spot that he's dipping in. Yeah, he's braking. He's braking right on the indent of the track. If you look at the left rail, that's exactly where it begins to indent. Right here. That's where I'm braking, and I'm not drifting. I'm just stopping. So I don't know if I have to let go of the gas or the brake rather. I don't know. Notice he lets the drift stop when he passes the low curve through, and then he snaps left. Okay. So it's a very short drift. Too much speed. That's the thing, this car don't turn! Even with the drift, it still refuses to turn. It has such a small window for error. Especially when you're trying to min-max like this. There is no give with this stinking car. It's all take. Nope. No speed. I think what I'm doing, I think I'm braking early. And then I'm trying to drift it for too long. Let's give it a few more tries. Jeez, don't wheel hop, please. I'm just messing up everywhere now. Like, I'm full. I was full on the brake and gas on that entire turn. And I still hit the wall. That's how little turn this car has. Okay, I felt it better there. I just oversteered it because I let go of the brake. Jeez. No, bad turn. I like what I did better. It's a lot less like hugging the corner. Like, yeah, I lose friggin' hell. I lose speed, but it's a lot easier than trying to force a car that doesn't turn to turn. Ow. A few more tries than that here. I know I keep saying that, but like, it would be cool if I could pull it off. That turn is just, it's just weird. It's just molded so odd. It's not a straight bank. It's wobbly. It's angled. It's not flat. Thank God it's not flat, because that would be impossible. It's not symmetrical. It's a little. It's not even. It's not an even turn. It's super sharp, and you gotta figure out how to drift around it. It's melting my mind. No! Stupid freaking car. Let's go. Why? So, in case you think I drove into the tree on purpose, obviously not. There's a checkpoint here we drive through that disables my steering. I'm not taking the shortcut because I'm already fast. I'm not taking this shortcut because I'm already fast. I'm just going to cruise it in. 27.2. Alright. That's it. Top 39 in the United States. Top 1100, just barely, in the world. Top 60 in North America. I think I could call it a day there. I'm going to lose a lot of those positions as the season goes by. View replay. $21 Canadians, yeah. 21 red Canadians. Like, I don't want to learn that last shortcut, so I'm not going to hit sub 27, at least not by going that route. And my backup plan, if I do go through these tracks before I'm ready to move on to another game, would be to revisit some of them to get a better score. So number 4 may be one that we'll revisit in the future.